it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
It's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
To another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we're back. And we are back for another week of shenanigans. Lori's looking at me like I'm crazy. Can you hear me, Lori?
You are a little special, but you just seem to be kind of freezing up a little bit.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
kind of. It's a little bit of a delay.
Oh my goodness, not again. Okay. Well, let me know if it continues, and I'll see what I can do.
Okay, that's my job.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and we are streaming live on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Catch us on YouTube all the time for any of our live streams, and anytime we go live or add any content, it's on Empower TV. Make sure you like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We are on our way to 65 subscribers. And viewership is definitely going on the YouTube side. But in all honesty, please make sure that you share it so that others can subscribe. We are definitely pulling in more and more viewers even after the show originally airs through organic searches, which is really, really cool. So please help us keep that up. It always helps with the algorithms. Anytime you guys are able to do that, we do appreciate it. And I do promise I am working on my lighting. I know it's bad. I know I look like a big chocolate dot. And I will.
Oh no, you look like a big chocolate gumdrop. Mmm.
No, Lori. Yeah. I'm working on it, damn it. I'm trying to get some light in here. It's very dark where I am. I'm in a secluded location. So yeah.
You hiding out, aren't you? Because they looking for you, aren't you?
They probably are. They probably are looking for me, and it's not my fault. It's because of the franchise. They always looking for him, so they trying to sit there and get some dirt on me to use against him.
And you would never give up the franchise.
No, we never
looking for me.
What's going on, franchise?
Not much, brother. How y'all doing?
You know, living the dream, I guess. I got no problems. How about you? How's everything going in your world?
I can't complain. Not right now. Maybe
right now.
Some time.
I'm gonna give you some time. Definitely, we're gonna give you time to do that. And Lori, how are you doing?
I am doing okay. Doing good.
I'm doing good too, Lori.
Yes.
Got something in my cup.
Absolutely. And as I said, you look like a big old chocolate kiss. Mwah.
Mwah.
Okay. Y'all want to take this to Empower After Hours?
We might have to start a new show. How about that?
Is that not it? This is not the show we're on right now?
No. That's with Devin Long.
Oh, okay.
No, that is
That's
not.
with Brian Parker. That's with my stage character, Devin Long. Which, if y'all would like, you can always subscribe to onlyfans.com/Devin Long. That's Long with 3 O's in it. And make sure that you subscribe to my OnlyFans page.
America, please don't.
Oh no, I already got some subscribers. It's already growing. It's getting pretty long. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We have a little levity on the show as always. We are going to talk a little bit about, of course, you know, all this stuff with impeachment and everything now coming on with Joe Biden Kevin McCarthy made an announcement. The House has been out for about a month, Jermaine, and they came back to much anticipation that though that there has to be a budget passed by the end of this month, the first announcement was we're going to go ahead with the inquiry to impeach Joe Biden for doing absolutely nothing. It's kind of crazy to, and it's funny, the House has been in session since January the 5th, I believe, somewhere thereabouts. And their biggest task has been to try to find witnesses to back up allegations that came out of whole cloth about wrongdoing by Joe Biden. Now, listen, before we get into it, I'm gonna say this: if Joe Biden had committed any crimes, or if Hunter Biden has committed any crimes, they should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, like any and every other citizen. But that would also include Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, anybody related to them. It's funny how somebody is trying to find hidden crimes, supposedly, of Joe Biden, and their guy had blatant stuff out in the open being done, and nope, nothing to see here, no problem. Kind of funny how that goes. Joe Biden is being accused of benefiting from his son's business dealings. Now, stop me if this sounds familiar, because his son was capitalizing off of the family name by getting money from foreign companies and everything. So he was basically benefiting off the Biden name, and now they're trying to tie Joe Biden to benefiting from the benefitter that benefited off his name. For years,
Hey, can I hop in just real quick? Because I don't want to forget. I will say this: you can do two things at the same time, and so I don't want because a lot of people will say, "Well, it's exactly what you say when people are accusing Trump, and we're trying to talk about Biden stuff." It's funny how it's not really. I would like to distinguish it from a conversation of Donald Trump completely, and just say that if Biden's doing crimes, he's doing crimes, and that the Senate has they pass a lot of legislation, they discuss a lot of matters and stuff, and so simply because that they're keyed in on this doesn't mean that they're somehow neglecting their other duties, and or that like say I know where you're going with the similarities to how can you talk about this on one hand, and when you talk about Biden, it's a whole different story and stuff, because we know that Trump is a brand and a name and stuff like that, and that they're benefiting from people benefiting from that and stuff. But if Hunter Biden's committed crimes, he's committed crimes. If Joe Biden's committed crimes, he's committed crimes. I think more focused on what the validity of those crimes might be, because again, Donald Trump's accused. I mean, even if you got a guy on tape and stuff, everybody's got their day in court kind of thing. And so while Donald Trump stands accused of doing everything but stealing Christmas, I think it's important not to get into the narrative that that they can't sling allegations in Biden's way while supporting their guy. People do it all the time.
No, well, actually, I hear what you're saying, but I wasn't really referring to the ongoing investigations with Trump. What I was referring more to is if you're going to go after Hunter Biden for capitalizing off of his family's name, and Ivanka Trump got over 30 trademarks from China as a presidential advisor, if Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudis as a senior advisor to the president, and somebody that Trump had put in charge of Middle Eastern affairs, and then to levy an attack against Hunter Biden for capitalizing off of his father's name, That's where I'm going with that. I'm not even talking about the 91 criminal indictments outstanding against Trump. You're right. That's totally separate. Two things can be true at the same time. What I'm saying is that for them to try to come up with his laptop and all this stuff and say, did he benefit from his family's name? Absolutely, he did. Is that a crime? Not at all.
It's absolutely not.
It's not. What they're trying to do, though, is say that his father benefited from him doing that, and there's been no evidence of it. But what I was getting at originally was the fact that to try to make that long connection from one to the other when Hunter Biden has never been a political operative or worked in his dad's cabinet, unlike Jared and Ivanka, who were senior political advisors, unlike Jared and Ivanka, who could not even get security clearance. He had to authorize it because they could not get clearance. To then see them get all of these things, all the trademarks, all of the things that they got while in office, while serving in government taxpayer positions. Hunter Biden has never been paid by the taxpayers that I know about. But so my point was more of, it's kind of funny that we're bringing Hunter into this, and this has been their focus since January the 5th, even before. But once they took over power, it really became a focus for them. And you're right. It should be about, okay, what bills have you passed? What things have you passed? When you listen to Kevin McCarthy, I just saw a clip of him today while Nancy Pelosi was still the speaker, him talking about, when we get in power, we want to do things like improve the lives of the American people, lower prescription drug prices, do this and that and the other. And I'm going, whoa, prescription drug prices? Biden's sitting there trying to do that, and you guys are fighting him tooth and nail talking about it's socialism. So it's just kind of funny, it's not always what they say, it's what they do, right? And I get that. Both sides do that. And I'm certainly not oblivious to the fact that Democrats don't grandstand, especially when they're in front of the cameras and everything else. I totally get that. I'm not going to act like that is something mutually exclusive to Republicans, because then that would be disingenuous. But what I am saying is it's kind of funny to lost something that wasn't a problem for 4 years, watching Jared and Ivanka benefit. And now, Hunter Biden had a job, and he probably had that job because of his name. Okay, well, I'm sure Rudy Giuliani's son got a couple of positions too, because his daddy was Rudy Giuliani. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi's daughter got positions because her last name was Pelosi. You could go on and on. I'm sure Ronna McDaniel Romney got her position with the RNC because her last name was Romney, even though she dropped it because Trump said didn't like the name Romney.
I do think that's an interesting can of worms to open.
It is.
I will say that because, like you said, I mean, everybody benefits. All famous people benefit off their name and stuff. That's how they get. That's how they get reservations at restaurants. That's how they get their preferential treatment and stuff. You look in Hollywood and stuff. And does Jaden Smith act without Will Smith? No, not at all.
Does Willow get a album without Jada being her mama?
No, it doesn't happen. And does Will? He produced that. What was that movie? With him and Jaden in it.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, so he enriched himself off his son. So I mean, it is an interesting idea, concept of that level of people who use their connections for their family to further their families stuff, would bring up that was possibly an issue, and not just withstanding what happened in the last term, with Trump's presidency, but just in politics in general. Why you would now think that was a good thing to point out, unless they plan on killing off their families and not having any more kids. I'm not really sure that's something, that's like somebody calling the police, like, I'm smoking weed and they down here smoking crack. I need you to come get them. Like, you're all doing illegal drugs. I'm not sure you should have made this phone call.
I mean, are you going to tell me that Mitch McConnell's grandkids aren't going to be able to go to the University of Kentucky, um, because he has connections to the university, or is Tommy Tuberville not going to be able to have some of his family be able to go to Auburn? I mean, it's there's legacy admissions. There's all kind of things that are connected to family. What they're trying to allude is that policy decisions were made as a result of that.
Again, it's an interesting can of worms to open for that body of government because they're still allowed to trade stocks on committees that they sit on. And
Correct.
so to sit there and say that you could be enriched third party when they're enriching themselves in the first person, as it were, POV style,
Yeah.
where they're making policies over companies that they hold an interest in. I just think it's an interesting can of I just and so this is I've said it before, and a lot of people said this. It's not mine, obviously originally, that Republicans have run out of policy, and so they're doing culture war type stuff, or they're just picking fights about things. But this is an interesting fight because I would just think in a room of Republicans, somebody would be like, "Whoa, wait a minute now."
Yeah, let's not touch that
Let's not
because
touch that.
some of us could get caught in that.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, and it also talks about when you're even on that part of the government, like when you're even talking about lobbyists, and then the interest that our senators get from lobbyists and from those groups that they're sitting there supporting. Like you can go down this rabbit hole if you want, but it's gonna open up other things.
It does not sound like a great rabbit hole to go down, though, right?
No, it does not. And it just seems like they're
Especially
just
because
pulling at straws.
you already know what's down that hole.
Well, I for one am for it though.
I am too. Because there should be more transparency, and merits should get you things more so than names that you may be attached to. But that should then be all the way across the board, not just, well, we are going to not acknowledge it when it's our guy, but when it's somebody else, oh, now it's a 3-alarm fire. And that's what turns people off a lot of times about politics is because when one party's in power, they complain about the same things that were being complained about when they weren't in power, and it just goes around and around and around.
Yeah, it really is a snake eating its tail kind of thing. But I think I would say that this is fairly, or well, not fairly, but it would be new. It would because it is such a symptomatic thing of politics that the reason that nobody really has addressed it before is because again, Congress does not investigate itself. They don't hold it themselves to some ethical standard and stuff. It's just everybody else out there because they've been getting government health care. They've been getting negotiated drug prices. They've been getting everything that they say that the American people can't have forever. And so, generally speaking, it's not to their benefit to start talking about these things. So that's why I think that the whole situation is interesting. Obviously, just recently, like you said, all the things you brought up with the Trump family and stuff, the $1 billion from the Saudis, all the patents from China, all the things that they were going through, and then to turn around and say, he got this job, and we think that Big Daddy Joe was enriching himself off this too. I do. I just think it's very interesting that they would bring that up because of what the ramifications of, let's say that, so what do you do? I think really, so here, top of my head, I think Joe Biden needs to lean into this. I think Joe Biden needs to say, you know what, you could be right. And I propose some new legislation that would bind ethics that wouldn't allow any member of Congress or the president to enrich themselves off these things.
Yeah.
I think he should lean into it because let's be honest. A lot of people are talking about him running for the election. He's not going to live through another term. He's an old man. And and so it's not like he'd be tying his own hands It might be tying in Kamala's hands, but
Yeah,
he's got to be tying his own hands.
right.
And he could just lean forward to this.
Well, and that's kind of like, not to go totally off base, it's kind of like the whole immigration thing, where it's always better to use it as a punching bag than to be something that you really try to fix, because if you fix it, then you don't have that fear card to play. So something like this is more of that punching bag to use. But I agree with you. If they wanted to, he could say, "Hey, let's work together and come up with some legislation so we can never do that." But by doing that, it's like you said, then that's not just going to affect somebody with a D at the end of their name. It's going to affect people that have R's and I's at the end of their names too.
Hey, I got a text from Christina Gaines. Shout out to Flip. She says 90% of Americans get their job from a hookup and who you know.
Oh yeah, I see. I see that she's on watching. Thanks for joining us, Christina. It's good to see you, girl. But and that's an inside joke. She'll know that one. So Jermaine, they actually have the same birthday. Did you know that, Lori?
No, I did not.
Yeah. November 25th. For anybody wondering.
Yeah.
Listen,
I accept gift cards and coupons to the strip club.
Well, either that or I'll have a turkey cake for you. How about that?
A turkey flavored cake?
No, not a turkey flavored cake. A cake that looks like a turkey.
Cake.
Well, you said turkey cake, so yeah.
Cake inside
Okay,
of a turkey.
that's a little different. That's a little different. I'm not going to do all of that.
You said it nasty.
Caking?
Yeah. I mean, we can go to the strip club and get plenty of cake.
No.
But Chris says, but the we the people keep putting old degenerates in office in the office, and this 60 is 80 is not the new 60. It's still 80.
Well, you know what, and I agree with that. Even you see, yesterday Mitt Romney announced that he's going to retire from the Senate. Because he basically said if he ran again, during his time in the Senate, I didn't realize Mitt was like 77 years old. He actually looks pretty good to be a 77-year-old guy.
Yeah, he actually does.
I mean, now that I think about it, yeah, he's been around for quite some time. But I mean, compared to a lot of the other old farts in the Senate, he looks pretty spry. So, but it's a good acknowledgement for him to say, you know what? We weren't meant to be here forever. There should be an expiration. I've been the biggest advocate of term limits. Not so much, and people try to say, well, isn't that ageism or anything else? No, absolutely not. When you see Dianne Feinstein literally having to be wheeled into the Senate and her handlers having to tell her, press this button, press that button, and to say that out of the 30-40 million people in the state of California, she's the only one that can represent that state.
Power is addictive, man. Power is addictive.
Power is a crazy drug. But if you're trying to convince me that a 90-something-year-old woman can only be one of two people to represent the state of California, then you think very lowly of your constituents. If you're trying to sell them on that, that is the craziest.
I knew a guy in the military, and they were doing a what we call an open call. They had all the enlisted guys in and stuff, and one of the chiefs asked their chiefs to stand up, the chiefs in the crowd from different sections to come on stage with them, and we pass mics around, and you can ask us questions and stuff. And there was a question about, basically people staying too long. People, if you don't know, in the reserves and Air National Guard and stuff, you can stay till you're age 60. And so there are some people who joined at 18 and stayed to 60. I want you to think about that. Do that quick math. And the thing is that obviously when you reach the highest ranks and stuff, and you hold that rank for decades, other people can't come in because there's only so many positions. You're blocking people in their career path and stuff. And this one guy, he just sat up there when they were doing a Q&A during this big briefing with everybody in the hangar. And he was like, well, I want to go, but man, there's just nobody behind me that can do the job.
Yeah.
And until somebody can, step up and stuff, to which, the obvious thing to me was, well, you're in charge of training your replacement. So if there's no one there, there's one or two things that need to happen. Either you need to step up and train your replacement, or you need to go ahead and leave because you're a bad trainer and you'll never train a replacement because you don't know how.
That's true.
And so when we look at
to do with it, one way or the other.
Yeah, well, you can't have it, oh, my hands are tied. I know I'm the guy in charge of this section and stuff, but there's just no good people in my section. Well, that's your fault, man. You're a bad manager, you're a bad leader. And so that's the same thing with our political leaders and stuff. There is a such thing as staying too long because you don't always. I used to always tell my guys, I don't have all the answers. The reason that we work good as a team is that we have a diversity of ideas. A lot of people think diversity is just skin color, but it's the diversity of ideas and cultures and stuff that allow people to look at different situations from different angles, and you can take those ideas and come up with the best solutions and stuff. And when you have one person that's just in there and in the way, those new ideas aren't allowed to flow. So when we talk about restrictions on term limits and stuff like that, it's not an ageism thing. It's well, do you want the country to be stagnant, or do you want us to continue moving forward? Because there is a point, and as I get older and stuff, I'm only 47, but I'm stuck in my ways with a lot of things, and I believe what I believe, and good thing that I've moved on, and they can have new leadership, and they can go in whatever direction they want to go in and stuff.
No, absolutely. And if the whole idea, hey, Christy Faulkner / McClellan, if the whole idea is to train our youth up and develop them for the future, I believe the children are the future and everything else. There has to be a time when we realize that our time is come and gone, and you have to pass the baton. It's like running. Hey, Christy, it's like, I used to, run track back in the day and be on the relay team. If the whole point of the relay team was for the one guy to never pass the baton, what would be the point of the other three people on your team? The whole point of leadership is to train those under you and turn them into eventual leaders. Hello, Dennis. How you doing? So I think they missed the point because the power is so corruptible that when you get into it for so long, it's almost a sense of entitlement to me, Jermaine, where they almost just feel like, well, I should just be able to stay and do this as long as I want. And that's kind of more of a selfish thing than it is for a growth and development thing. And Christina says yes, because they no longer have a growth mindset. It becomes an I mindset. And that's absolutely right, because the whole point is more about me. And that's obvious too, because a lot of the legislation, a lot of the things that they do, when you go, wait a minute, why are they against things that when you look at a poll, 80% of the people, 70% of the people support, and they don't support it? I'll give you a perfect example. Abortion. Most people will support some type of abortion, whether it's 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever the amount of weeks is. A total outright ban is not the most popular thing. Yet you'll find a lot of these folks in the Congress that are stuck in their ways, and they believe that it should be totally banned.
I can absolutely answer that for you. And again, I'll draw on a little bit of military experience, right? So when you first come in the military and stuff, as a young person and stuff, there are things going on that are out of your control. You are simply a follower, right? And
Right.
so what happens is you say to yourself, like every young person does, if I ever get in charge, I'm going to change these things.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Just like in the military and stuff, in order to reach your highest rank, so if you start enlisted as an E1, if you want to be an E9, it's probably going to take you about 18 years. The problem is that a lot of people wait 18 years and they want to get in a time machine. They want to go back and change those things that were important to them when they were younger,
Right.
not realizing that there are new issues for young people that they don't even know about and really aren't really interested in changing. Abortion was a big thing for Republicans when they were against it 20, 30 years ago. Another good thing for term limits is that people with fresh ideas and who are more in tune with what's going on currently, they've been fighting that fight for when did Roe get passed? It's been 30 years, right?
Oh my God, no, it was 40.
No, it was in the 50s.
It's 50 years.
Almost
50 years.
It didn't quite make 50. It was about 47, 48 years.
Okay. So, but almost half a century, they've been fighting a battle, and the first chance they got an opportunity to do something about it, even though that battle had been decided publicly 30 years prior, where the public opinion had shifted on it, they were still in the fight. And when you look at guys who are sitting, like when you look at your McConnells and you look at your, well, all of them really.
Yeah, if you go to the Democratic side, you got Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Jim Clyburn, all these old cats. Yeah, they're still there, and you're right. Their values, but it's kind of funny how the public, the same constituents that they're supposed to be listening to, their mindset has changed on whether it's abortion, whether it's gay rights, gay marriage, those types of things that there was a time when that wasn't popular. Remember a time when there was a don't ask, don't tell. Remember a time when coming out of the closet wasn't a thing. You didn't see people walking down the street holding hands and things like that and things like that. And now you can see that the public perception has changed. Amen, Christina. The public perception has changed, yet the politicians are slow to change. And the whole thing about having politicians is that they are supposed to be representative of you. Voting matters is what Christina says. And she also says, but the total outright ban is because it's about control. That is a good point. Those same people don't place proper orders to put things in urban communities, such as sidewalks, healthy food stores, adequate health professionals and services. Well, yeah, and there's a perfect reason for that. If you're healthy and you don't need to go to the doctor as much, then they can't force you to work these jobs where they pay you $7.25 an hour, which helps their owners that are also their owner donors. They give them a bunch of money, so they put us in a constant cycle of being dependent on those low-paying jobs because then you're attached to it, which is why they don't want you to have a livable wage. Because then if you have a livable wage and you're not sitting there having to get the prescription drugs that they don't want to control because they get payments and lobbyists taking them out and doing all these other kind of things. It is a crazy cycle where those that don't have, they don't want to ever have.
Well, I mean, I think really I can sum it up in the statement that there's no money in the cure, there's only money in the medicine. And so anybody's watched the show, if you're new here, I am the conspiracy theorist of the panel and stuff, and I will tell you about all things wrong with America. So here's the thing. The government does not want you in a position where you're well, where you're fed and you're taken care of, because when you meet Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you meet those baseline needs, with self-actualizations up at the top, and if you could actually get there, you might be able to see their BS. And they couldn't profit off of you. So if they put food stores, if they fix the sidewalks, if they fix healthcare and stuff, if they gave you a living wage and stuff, and you're like, well, I'm not struggling anymore. I have my head up above water. Let me look around and see, what are y'all doing over here? That they don't want that. And so I've said it before, like, I believe racism in this country is a national security threat.
Absolutely.
It really is. If you don't believe me, then just look at January 6th as a most recent example of that, right? When we talk about the civil unrest, and when even Republicans, when they talk about, well, these Democratic cities and they're tearing apart the cities and stuff, they're only tearing apart the cities because we hadn't done police reform,
right?
And you don't want to address that. If we reform our institutions, if we look at our institutional racism and stuff, if we look at how it affects our people, if we start actually working for the people and stuff instead of against the people, and everybody gets together and stuff, again, you'd have to reform our politics too, and our politicians, and that viability for control. As we talk about enriching themselves, they enrich themselves off of all these things.
Absolutely. Two comments. First, Christina says, because it's easier to put a hole in flotation devices. That's a great point. That's a great way of looking at it. The world is not equitable. It's not. Dennis actually, through a side comment, says, I am from Russia. What are the current sentiments of American citizens about the conflict with Ukraine? Or is everyone no longer interested in this news? Dennis, I will say, me personally, um, very interested in what's going on because, you know, the sentiment of American citizens, I think, is kind of split on stuff like that. And it's because there's a certain element of people being fed this American sensationalism that you have to only worry about what happens in your own borders. That there's a lack of understanding that there are things that connects us to the world, and when certain things happen in one place of the world, it can still have impacts on this side of the world. I'll give you a perfect example. There are still people in my country that believe that the reason that our gas prices are high is because we don't drill enough. There are people that do not understand that just because oil is drilled in the United States, there is no law currently that keeps every drop of oil in the United States. And if Exxon, Shell, BP were to simply drill for more oil, that would just make more oil available for them to sell globally to the entire market, not just the US. So drilling for more oil in America does not necessarily mean that gas prices will go down because the oil will not just stay in America because there's no mandate for it to do that. The reason I bring that up is because the things that are happening between Russia and Ukraine have an impact on the rest of the world. So I'm very interested in that, but there are people that have been told to not care about that here in America because they say it doesn't affect Americans. And that's simply not true. Why are we fighting a war? Why are we helping Ukraine fight Russia? Well, we're helping Ukraine fight Russia because Ukraine is a democratic state that is being invaded by Russia. Um, there was a time when Ukraine was a part of the USSR. Those days are over, but we seem to have, as we talked about, people that are in power too long. I would put Vladimir Putin in that category as well. That yearn for yesteryears where there were more states. Now, the other reason that we understand Ukraine to be invaded is of the desire of Ukraine to join the Western world as part of NATO, which is something that Vladimir Putin is strongly against because Ukraine is against Russia's borders. He doesn't want international exercises and things like that close to his border. He's paranoid. He doesn't want stuff like that close to him. He doesn't want Poland and Germany. Already don't want them to be part of NATO. Now you got all these other nations going, well, maybe we need to join NATO because there is a pact with NATO is that an attack on one is an attack on us all. So if Russia were to attack a NATO alliance member, they could be subject to an attack from anybody that's aligned with NATO. It would be actually our responsibility to attack.
Man,
And he doesn't want that to happen. So he's trying to knock it off before it gets to that point and reclaim territory of Ukraine.
What was the commenter's name?
Dennis.
Dennis.
Hey, Dennis. let me tell you, because I think your question was like, how does America feel about it and stuff? And I'm the word I would use is apathy. And it's just and so it's just an American thing. Is that when it first started, there was a lot of rah rah about it, and everybody was all up in arms, and we had support Ukraine on social media everywhere and stuff. But we've had like 3 Mondays since then, and quite honestly, the attention span of this country is only about 15 seconds long. So, what are people still talking about on social media when it comes to Ukraine? Mainly money. Why is the U.S. sending all this money to Ukraine and stuff? I don't think, and I will say this. I know my brother hit on a couple things, but quite honestly, the whole situation is more nuanced than what the media lets on and stuff. I have some insight to it. I'm not free to share, but I will tell you, American media drives the appetite of the American consumer, and
Right.
so when we talk about how do people feel about it, it depends on political leaning and what they're consuming in their media
Great point.
and news about it and stuff that informs them whether they should care or not. Like my brother said, there's some people been told not to care. There's some people been told to watch the money. There's some people been told that it's not a big deal. I recently heard on something, I think it was on Fox and stuff, where what they were talking about was how peaceful it was over in Ukraine, and they didn't really believe there was a war going on, and that it wasn't as bad as we had been led to believe and stuff. And so it's the if you talk about the country, it's all over the place. Again, it's a lot to do with background. Remember, the United States is a very large area and stuff, and we're as regional in our politics as we are with our religion and stuff. And so it's just varied and stuff. There are some people who are still very, very passionate about it and stuff. I have a friend who was stationed in Germany, and she took on they helped with some refugees from Ukraine when everything first went down and stuff. And so if you were to talk to her, because they got to know that family and stuff like that, they're still very, 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 very passionate about it stuff. And there's some people who never care from the start. So it's hard to say for a nation how we feel and stuff. But I think apathy. I think unfortunately, again, the attention span and the appetite for that kind of stuff it just does not last long, and it's been going on way too long. But if it makes you feel any better, the American people felt the same way about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11. The anniversary just passed this week, and here we are 22 years after 9/11 stuff. But I remember when it first happened, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing the American flag. It galvanized the country and stuff. But I mean, maybe a year or two later, it just wasn't the same. And so we just don't have that kind of attention span for even our own personal tragedies.
That's true. That's true. I think people are worried more about a Beyonce concert right now than what's going on in Ukraine, and that I'm only halfway tongue in cheek with that. There's just so many things that pull people's eyeballs, and you understand that, I'm sure, with all the social media and things like that. That people's attention span it can be a swipe. I mean, as soon as you look at something, if it doesn't grab your attention, or it's got 3 seconds to keep your attention, or you're on to the next thing. Christina also had said, drives it like like free chicken at a cookout. That is how the media is, and she's right, because if there was a ad on social media or TikTok right now that said Popeyes has free chicken sandwiches between right now and tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., I guarantee you there will be a line outside of Popeyes for free chicken sandwiches.
Hey, as a side note, in Charlotte today, there was an armored car that dropped some money, and people were seen hugging money and running away from the scene.
Really?
Yes. So for everybody who's ever had that dream, I wish the Lord would bless me with some money. I wish that armored truck would just drop the money. That actually did happen today. It caused a whole traffic mess, and there's
Wait a
some
minute,
people.
where,
I only bring it out. What?
where did this happen?
This happened in Charlotte. It's like off Sunset.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Because I was out today and traffic was so bad. Getting off on 77
Yeah.
going north that way.
Well,
It was all backed up because they were stealing the money and running away and driving away and
Well,
whatever
just
stuff.
but the whole thing is, aren't they going to even it's going to be tracked down if you take the money?
No,
no,
Really?
no.
and unless you're calling like a Traffican. They won't talk about it. It's dead.
Okay, don't know where that one's coming from. Okay, so that came from somewhere. I'm gonna unmute you. Hello. So apparently we're having a little bit of technical difficulties at this particular time. I don't know where that feedback is coming from, but just on, I guess, as we were sitting there talking about the money, maybe the feds was trying to silence us, especially on the money. Hold on.
Gotcha.
Okay. Jermaine, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me try to put Brian back on because that was just a little weird.
Oh,
Brian?
yes.
Okay, so I think that was a federal interruption at that point. Who was going on that
talking about it.
this?
I mean, what happened?
I don't know. I just know that as soon as we were talking about the last subject, there was a whole bunch of interference that just went on there.
I was about to explain how you get away with it, and then all of a sudden, I'll keep that explanation to myself then.
Yeah, because I was talking, and then all of a sudden you muted me. I'm like,
no, because you had such feedback, it was just all over the place.
Oh, really?
Hear you.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And I was testing to see where it was coming from because I was like, is it Jermaine? Is it you?
So my mic and headphones are hooked up to an equalizer. So I probably just had to reset it because when you muted me, I cut it off and cut it back on. So maybe it just needed to be reset.
Okay, but I just handling that one. But again, I think it it's for our fellow conspirator. That's what I was thinking. What was happening because he was about to break it down, and the feedback just came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually they just turn my internet off, but
right. But that's what. When you physically started talking about it and about to go into it, when the feedback came on, I said, they listening."
So I know we were talking about politics, but I want to get into this thing that I wanted to get into last week. And it's going to touch some people that are watching, and they're going to probably get mad.
Good touch, bad touch.
I may get some more dislike from it. There was a post from somebody on my Facebook page. And I always struggle with this because I understand why some people actually feel the way they do about this, because they're leaning more into a biblical reference. And I have no problem with that, but I think that sometimes folks that are rooted and grounded in their biblical beliefs do not have enough space in their life to accept the fact that not everyone shares those same beliefs. And that even if they don't, that does not necessarily mean that there's something wrong with them. I'm going to show you this post. I took a clip of it, and this is what the post says. If you can still hear me, men supposed to lead, not match the energy of women. This was posted originally on the Shade Room, and somebody on my Facebook actually shared it. And the comments that came as a result of that post were all over the place, but it was overwhelmingly where, people are in this mindset that men should be dominant or the dominant person in a relationship. And I know where that comes from. Um, I know that that comes from lead what, match how. Exactly, Christina. Um, Lori, Christina, do y'all need a man to lead you like a, well, I don't want to say like a dog. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lead the question. Do you need a man to lead you?
Don't
No.
answer that. I'll answer that for you. Um, okay. Jokes.
Okay.
Have at it,
Is
Jermaine.
that
Don't cancel me. Jokes.
the answer is yes.
Jokes.
Because listen, from a biblical standpoint, it's always, there's a reference about, the man being dead. Come, in, come to America, bark 3 times, whatever you like,
Arf.
whatever you like.
Big dog.
You know,
Roof.
and I'm going, okay, y'all. There are some traditional things where the man was head of household, the man went out and he was the breadwinner, the woman stayed home and took care of the kids and kept the house up and stuff like that. This is not the 1960s. And, talking about matching a woman's energy, what's wrong with a woman's energy? Now, Jermaine, just like myself, we both have 2 daughters. I don't want my daughter thinking that a man has to be a dominant person in her life. Now, I do want her to feel more like she has to bring certain things to the table. He brings certain things to the table, and it should be more of a give and take. It shouldn't be where, he's the one making the decisions. He's leading the family. Hell, you both grown ass people. You should both be leading the family. Nobody should be taking a back seat to anybody, but things should be uh, worked in a collaborative way. It doesn't mean one person is dominant over the other. And Christina said it's about how the church raised people and on being the word submissive.
So
And that's exactly where it's coming from.
Well, so I'm going to respectfully kind of disagree. And
Okay.
so here's what I say, because I'm just not going to nod my head to it. So here's what I say: if we're in a car together and I'm in the driver's seat, it doesn't mean you have less responsibility in terms of where we're going, but there's only one steering wheel and I'm driving. Leadership does not equate to you being submissive.
Right.
What it does equate to, especially with good leadership, is you being agreeable and you trusting and having faith in the direction. Because quite honestly, it amazes me how many women get with a man that they would not follow. They don't trust his decision making. They don't trust him for protection. And we can talk about what year it is and what's going on and stuff. And maybe I'm just traditional and stuff. But I still believe that if you're talking about in a traditional marriage and relationships like that, that men are protectors, men are providers and stuff. And so now the only thing in that statement about matching energy, like I'm never matching a female's energy. What are you talking about? That sounds like sus to me. Because if you're a man, I think what they're trying to say is her effort and stuff, like the hustle maybe of some women and stuff. Maybe that's what they're referring to and stuff. But quite honestly, even if you, like Christine was talking about what you're raised in church and stuff, if you believe in what you're raised in church about being equally yoked and stuff, then you're looking for a partner who already does the things that you like to do. I suggest that people stop meeting people in clubs and you start meeting people doing things like, I don't know, you're hiking or the activities that you want. If you want somebody that's going to be a leader, go to places where leaders are. Don't make sure that you're properly vetting people. But I understand when so I just don't believe in what people talk about toxic masculinity. I just don't believe being masculine is toxic. I think like anything, it's people, not the gender. I think it's the overgeneralization of being masculine and stuff. Are there bad men out there? Absolutely. Is that toxic masculinity? No, he's just an ass. What leadership? Because think about it. When we think, and it's only in the terms of relationships that when we talk about leadership in a relationship that we deem leadership to be some kind of evil thing. at your job, being a leader is not a bad thing. When we talked about Malcolm and we talked about Martin and stuff being leaders and stuff, we didn't think to ourselves, they just try and tell us what to do. No, they were galvanizing people for a common goal, and that's what you should be in your relationship. You should have somebody that's at the forefront. Because let me tell you, two hands on a steering wheel will get you into an accident. Somebody has to be, and that's just how relationships are. If you can both steer.
Let me ask you this though: two people can't drive at the same time, but does it always have to be the same driver?
So absolutely not, and that's a great point. And it's actually part of the reason I use the car example is that today I'm driving. Tomorrow you might drive, but when I'm driving as a passenger, you either trust me or you need to get out of the vehicle.
No,
because your life's in my hands with my decision making.
Absolutely, I think it's more of understanding the role. If there's certain things, I'll use me and Lori as an example. If there's certain things that I'm more comfortable with, she may lean on me to take the steering wheel in that instance. There may be certain things in our relationship that Lori feels more comfortable with. And as Christina mentioned the word vulnerable in one of her comments, I've got to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, Lori, I trust that this is something that you're more inept about, and I need to let you take the lead because it's something that you do without me feeling like that's threatening my masculinity by letting my wife take over something that I know she is better equipped to do. I don't think there have to be necessarily defined roles, but to your point, Jermaine, if you meet people outside the club and get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses and learn how to trust your partner, then it's not so much that I'm submitting to you. I'm making a logical decision to say, you know what, this is your thing. And for you to be what, maybe somebody handles money better than the other one. Maybe somebody does certain things around the house better than the other. And you don't just say, well, I'm the man, even though I'm not good at this. I'm the man and you the woman.
I push back just a little bit because I think I just hear it so much where if people are being vilified when they say things like their traditional roles and stuff, and there are traditional roles. Let me tell you right now, if somebody breaks into your house tonight, you're not going to look at Lori and be like, go check that out. You as the man are going to get up and go protect your wife. Maybe that's a bad example, but traditionally speaking, most men would not lay in bed where their wife has the baseball bat, walking around the corner trying to figure out who's in the house and stuff. So, and so when I say that there are traditional things and traditional roles and stuff, there are, and that's okay. A lot of people sit there and, quite honestly, you talking real bad about your grandma and stuff. Well, I don't want to sit around the house. First of all, your grandma didn't have no lashes on. She didn't have no fake hair on and stuff. She walked around with an old nightgown on where she couldn't find a string to keep it closed and stuff. But she kept Mr. Earl at the house.
Yeah.
And so a lot of y'all doing too much. And so I saw the post when you put the post up and stuff. I go, I understand what they want out of that. They want a man to step up because there's a lot of dudes right now, and put rant. The franchise goes on a rant here. So the rant here for me is this: there are a lot of women who complain about these weak men, but not understanding that as the government tore our families apart. This is another conspiracy theory. As the government tore our families apart in the 60s and 70s and stuff, when they started saying that we'll pay you to keep men out of your lives and stuff, and black women bought into that, and then they started raising children in these single family households and stuff. These weak men were raised in those households without men to see what men were doing and stuff. I will tell you that a woman will sit there and say, I don't want this guy to do X, Y, and Z, but they're telling their sons and stuff, you're my king, you're my prince, and stuff like that. These guys go from sitting on their mama's couch playing the video game to sitting on another woman's couch playing the video games. You raised that same weak dude that you're talking about.
Right. Hey, Tremaine, before you continue, let me read some of these comments because Christina's been going off. No, you're good. We were talking about a lot of this being attacked to church values and stuff like that. She mentioned that church trauma is real. She also said teaching and learning go hand in hand. But the energy is matched from effective communication and trust, being vulnerable with the right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. For every great man, there's a greater partner. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Supporting them and allowing them to be a part of their greatness. And then she took exception to the club analogy. What I meet in the club is not uh, on conversation of long term goals, it's a short term situation.
Gotcha.
That is definitely true. And info dextered, handpicked waving. Okay. Wave back to you. And then Christina continues because Mr. Earl likes the fact that she played Lou Rawls and cooked real meals.
Real meals.
And then she said because we raise our daughters and love our son.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
That's so true.
That is so true.
That is so true. But what she said about behind every great man is a greater partner. Let me tell you again, 26 years in the military, left as an EA, supervised a section of 70 plus people and stuff. I got to be a really good leader. But you know why? Because I had great partners
Yes.
in my section that allowed me to lead. And so everything she's talking about, the communication, the trust and stuff, because relationships are really the same, whether they're professional or they're personal and stuff. I say that all the time and stuff. They require the same nurturing. They require the same attention and stuff. We're just more inclined to do our professional relationships because we get paid for them.
Right.
And stay on top of them and stuff. But my great leadership wasn't just because Jermaine was great and he had the greatest ideas. Is I had a better team. If I was a great leader, then I had an excellent team, right? And so that's the same thing with these relationships. If you're a man and stuff, and that's why you have to choose a good partner, right? Because a woman that allows me to work and do the things I need to do, I'm not worried about her and the family and what's going on. She's holding that down. It allows me to go out and be great. So yeah, if you see a great man, it's because he's got an excellent partner.
Clean up on aisle 11. He did that right, didn't he? Good cleanup. And you got some love from Shirley McGriff. Thank you, Aunt Shirley.
Hi, Aunt Shirley.
Wait, which
Christina,
Shirley?
Not Shirley Natasha. Shirley.
Aunt Shirley.
Yeah, Aunt Shirley.
Relationship. Honey or cousin? Which?
I know both Shirleys. Relationships are who you connect to. With no connection, you have no relationship. And it's about communication, right? You know, I was just on a call, a work call today, and one of the things that I said is that normally when things break down in relationships, one of the main ingredients is communication. Bad communication, bad relationship. You'll never see a good relationship and there's bad communication.
Yeah.
That has to be, if not the backbone, it has to be a real common thread in that. So matching my partner's energy, well, it kind of depends on what you mean by that. You know, is there a way that we think that men should be different from women? Yes. But is there always a typical woman that you say, okay, she's this, she's meek, she's very timid, she's deferential. Not all women are built like that. And it doesn't mean that she's out of her place. It doesn't mean that her energy is off. It just means that maybe she was raised in an environment where she had to take the lead because there was nobody else around. And she wasn't just going to sit there and wait. So a lot of times our upbringing brings us into certain instances too. Christina says, knowing that love has levels and there are such things as love languages. That's definitely part of communication, knowing that everybody doesn't communicate and receive those kind of things the same way, and understanding what your partner's language is so that you can then address the need the way that they receive it. Just sticking to your guns and saying, well, this is the way that I know to communicate it may not always be the best, because if your partner doesn't receive it that way, then it really doesn't matter. So there's always that kind of thing attached to it too.
I would say I'm not dating another man. If you coming with manly energy and stuff, you can keep that. And I understand where circumstances might have told you that
You mean a woman
that
that you feel like has man energy?
uh energy and mannerisms and stuff. I mean, and this is just full disclosure for me. And y'all can cancel me after this. I understand this is Franchise's last show because Franchise went too far. It was okay when he was talking about racism in America and stuff, but when he started talking about women, men and women and stuff. But I'll be honest with you and stuff. I am not. I will not respond well. Do not respond well to a woman masquerading in masculine energy and trying to be dominant over me. I will not let a woman be dominant over me. That's crazy to me. What I would say is that, and again, when we talk about love language and stuff like that, this is where investigation goes a long way, and staying with people, not just rushing. I mean, into things and stuff, is that if you don't like the way that I speak, there's millions of other people out there. You ain't got to be in my face with it. There's somebody out there who, if there's nobody out there, then that's just what it is. But let's be honest. Look at this beard. There's somebody out there for me.
Would you ever consider yourself to be dominant over a woman partner?
What's that?
Would you ever consider yourself to be dominant over a woman partner?
Would I ever consider myself to be dominant over a woman partner? I think, and this is just for me, I think that my my manner of leadership as a man doesn't require me to be dominant. What it requires me to be is competent. It requires me to be consistent.
But if a woman did the same kind of leadership to you that you did to her, you would consider her being dominant over you.
I would consider her trying to lead me, and that's not the way I was brought up.
But right, but you would consider what she's doing is trying to be dominant over you.
Sure.
Okay.
I can see to your point, sir.
There is a question out there that Christy Faulkner asked a question. Is it confidence that bothers you, or is it strictly dominance?
It's not confidence. I now just, Jermaine, franchise corner and stuff. Do I want a confident woman? Absolutely. I would like a confident woman. What I don't want is I don't want a woman thinking that she can dictate to me. Because, and here's the thing, because I believe in the traditional role. Now, if you don't believe in traditional roles where I'm going to be a protector and provider for you, then it probably makes no sense to you. But if you're coming to me and you say, hey, franchise, I like what you're selling. I too would like to get on the program, and I would like for you to be a provider for me and stuff. I would like for you to be a protector for me. I would like for you to provide a home and security for me. Okay, well, that's fine, because if you go to any institution and they have their own rules, well, franchise has his rules and stuff, and the rules are, if I'm responsible for you, then I get a say in what goes on. Now, it's not that, and I'm not the kind of person where I don't want to hear what she's got to say. I absolutely want to hear. I want your feedback and stuff, because how can I protect you? How can I provide for you? Because that's just not a monetary thing. I'm providing for you spiritually. I'm providing for you with your emotional intelligence. I'm providing all these things. How can I provide for you if I don't know what it is that you need providing for? So obviously there's going to be a conversation there. And so it's not the confidence and stuff, but if I'm doing that, then I'm in the role of a traditional man and stuff, where I'm doing the leading and stuff, which means that, hey, look, you either trust me, you don't trust me, but I make final decisions around here. I have presidential veto.
Okay. Well, let me read some comments real quick before they get off my screen, because these are really good, and I appreciate the comments. I'll definitely keep it going. This has been very entertaining. Christina says one has to understand that as one gets older, mindsets will change. So the same things that you were attracted to at the first meeting may change 5 months or 5 years later. Also, she mentions that she's the one who brings masculine energy by society standards, because I run a household without any other sources. People at times label that on label that on single moms, but give a double standard on men who show their emotions and feelings. Confidence doesn't equal cocky.
I, it,
I will say that I grew up the same way with Jermaine, where guys at that time didn't really express themselves and put their feelings out there and cry. And I'll even say it's kind of funny now when we were just traveling. We were in Virginia, and we meet up with some of our friends, and you know, I go see Shannon, and we see Ben, and see Christian, and I see his sons and everything, and we hug. Back in the old days, if you did a hug, it was the side hug. You kind of bring it in like that, and what's up. Now it's kind of more like, hey man, and it's a full embrace. Where I think the way I was raised, I didn't really see that a lot of a full embrace of men. Now it's kind of more expected, or it's kind of, she's at church hugging. But hey, you have to hug to the side in church, because some of y'all be wearing some things in church that I don't know y'all would be wearing in church. You know what I'm saying? Because if I hug you fully, then there's gonna be a lot of praying. And anyway, probably why they don't want me up in there. They banned me from church.
well,
But
like Christina was saying, a lot of single women have that, but I don't necessarily equate that to masculinity. Is that you're the leader in your household? You are literally the head of your household.
I don't either, Christina, unless when somebody says Happy Father's Day, you say thank you. Now that's where I draw the damn line.
That's a whole nother show, bro.
I see
That's
I see that on
other
Facebook,
topic.
and women sitting there accepting Happy Father's Day wishes. I got some problem with that. And she says that I do. Take your day, but stop taking other days. Even if you got to do double duty, that don't mean that you that person.
You never see those same women on Grandparents' Day. Well, my grandparents ain't here. I'm the grandparent. You don't claim that. Like come on.
That's interesting.
That is true. Grandparents' Day is coming. It is coming up.
I'm just throwing it
I've
out
got a
there.
work calendar, lady, so she keeps up with all the holidays. I had no idea there was really a
What?
Grandparents'
I'm
Day.
glad you talking about me.
Yes,
on
I'm
the
the pappy.
I'm the pappy.
You know what? I bet she has a shirt that says I'm the pappy. I'm just gonna put that out there.
No, actually, my shirt says "Trust your dopeness."
No. I'm talking about. I believe Christina has a shirt that says I'm the pappy.
No,
She
absolutely
probably does.
not.
I bet she does. But no, I mean, I get it, and I know that there are what we consider to be traditional roles. I think what's happening though is the word traditional is starting to change. Not in everybody, but it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with senators and people in Congress, where things that they grew up believing, those are ingrained, and those are things that they're going to hold on to, even if things are changing. When I grew up, there was no difference between, I mean, it was, but you weren't really taught that. There was no difference between gender and sex. There was man and woman. Where now you hear, okay, there are two sexes, but they can be many genders. Just like you hear that weather and climate aren't the same thing. Those are two totally different things. Lord, let me go to my shirt making machine. Yeah, I bet. Now you got to give me some kind of photo cred when you inevitably put that picture on Facebook, Christina. You got to give me some kind of credit for inspiration. But so as lives have changed and now more and more people are walking around, I think some of that post had to do with the fact that there is an evolution of what a man is and what a man's role, and I will thank you, what a man's role is and everything. Now to a traditionalist where it's uh, father, mother, two kids, dog, uh, two-car garage, white picket fence, and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna get 10% of 10%. I'm gonna do the math on that just a little bit because you're trying to mess with my head. I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna figure out in the end that come out to zero. I'm gonna still try to figure out how I can put it on my taxes, but because that's what we do. Or maybe I can claim some kids with it and maybe get a couple $100 off of it. But I'm still doing that though. No, anyway. Man, you still claiming other people's kids?
You know what? I'm about to stop on this one because you starting to go off on the rails, and we are like about 10 minutes.
Okay, so anybody that has never been on the show, Ty Harris, can't say I agree with the unequal relationship theory. It's a matter of control. I hope my daughters are equal in their. Oh, why did it cut off? Oh, maybe it's just on my Facebook. Never be controlled or dependent on anyone. That's where I am with that, Ty. I want my daughters to feel like that their contribution is as equal. Now, like I said before, if there
you're the
are
reason I date women that don't have their fathers in their lives.
if there are certain things that I feel like my partner is stronger at, we can't be strong at everything, right? And I think when you talk about being a leader, what makes a leader great is surrounding themselves with capable, competent people. Anytime I was ever recognized for being a great leader, it was because I surrounded myself with a great team of people that all brought their strengths to the table. And I know that's stepping out from this a little bit, but that kind of goes into what we were talking about before about diversity, equity, and inclusion, where in the old days, I'm old enough to remember where that used to be a celebrated and a good thing, where your differences made you stronger because inevitably you weren't going to be good at everything, and surrounding yourselves around people that may be better at certain things than you are made you more whole. And anytime you're talking about a relationship, the point is to be whole, and you can't be whole by yourself.
I see that a lot of y'all don't fix y'all man a plate when y'all go out. It shows. I'm just saying. It shows.
Is that
y'all are
is
not
that
yelling
gonna
from
be
the
a
kitchen.
segue
You
to
want these greens?
our
Y'all not doing that.
our segment of
Oh yes. So it is about that time. This time of the show, I do not fix plates. Okay, Christy, I heard that girl. She said, "Hey, if you want to eat, I suggest you get your ass up and you go fix a plate." That's what she's saying.
That's why Christina is the head of her household.
Christina says, and we'll go into what I don't like. Controlling independency sounds like abuse. I don't want that on either side. Being equal in love and balancing, being a well-rounded person. Yeah. And she says, I fix plates. So
I'm gonna have to raise my hand on that one too. I fix plates too.
Well, you know what, Lori? No, well, you try. You will always offer, and most of the time I say, I got it. No, been married almost 30 years. We take turns. You know, and even just recently, Labor Day, we went to New York, and we were at a cookout, and Lori was like, "You want to fix your plate?" That's just in Lori to do that. And I know she's trying to be helpful, but a lot of times I'll be like, you know what? I don't want you to have to do that. You go ahead and take care of you leading. Take turns leading. Yeah, you have to take turns leading. I cook as a side hustle, so I fix plates. Okay, that makes sense. But you know, she always offers to do that, and I'll be like, "Hey, I got it. Don't worry about it." I appreciate it. I know because I know it's coming from a good place. But this is the time of the show where we get into what I don't like is, and if you're not familiar with it, look, y'all, we go through a whole week and we run into stuff that we just simply don't like. And this is our time to let it out a little bit. So if there's something that you don't like, by all means, let me know what it is. Lori, what do you have for us this week? What is it that you don't like?
You may have to come back to me because I actually had a good day.
You had a good day?
I didn't like.
I used one before. Terry Thunderbird is watching. Yeah, there's your partner, Lori. You know, I used this one before, but I love recycling some of my what I don't like. It's when people say things they don't really mean. You know, these young kids right now will say stuff like, "I ain't gonna hold you," and then they proceed to talk to you for another 15 minutes. I don't like that at all. I ain't gonna hold you. Now, let me tell you about my life. No, don't. uh, Christina says she don't like how Brian Parker uses her government name.
They listening.
Yeah. Well, look, I got to use your government name because they may come and ask you for some plates. I'm just saying, Jermaine, anything that you don't like?
You know what? So, this is a story, and I'll be quick because we're at the end of the show. So there's a page on Facebook. It's called Air Force Airman NCO Senior NCO.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just kind of pokes fun at the military, and it posts all kind of different things on there. And so here recently, there was a post that came from my old unit and stuff where they had we have a family, usually have a family day, and we have events and open up airplanes and people, and so for half the day you'll work the first half and the families will come out and they'll eat lunch, and they had bouncy houses. They've had the Panthers cheerleaders out there before. They've had all kind of stuff out there for family day. It's just an opportunity for families to come out and especially new people to see the base, see the facilities, tour workspaces, stuff like that. Well, this year, and I already knew why, because there's really no money in DoD right now across the board. A lot of things were before I retired. There were a lot of conferences that were cut, a lot of equipment, supplies that could not be ordered and stuff, and just didn't have any money. And this is what we would call a morale and wellness event and stuff. And so I know there was no money and stuff, but what they did was they somebody sent out a letter that said, hey, you can work that half day and then we'll go down to the base club, but don't invite your family because we're not having anything for family day. And now this is a page that has thousands of people that look at the page and stuff. And so what I did was I saw it was on my old unit stuff. I shared that post and, kind of made a little comment stuff. It was all good fun and stuff. What I don't like is that I got a message today from somebody who's a dear friend who was a little butthurt because I shared the post because it cast the guard in negative light. And what I don't like is that you being mad at me because something was wrong with your institution. I didn't put it on. And again, now I probably have like 5 followers on Facebook and stuff. It's not like I was pumping this thing out nationwide and stuff. Nobody really follows me, but you can follow me on Facebook and other social media. Just look for Jermaine Parker or Jermaine Parker Realty. But the thing is that if the base had been handling their business, they wouldn't have ended up on that page. I wouldn't have been able to repost it. And even in the comments, and they did make a comment, well, I do like the fact that you said that you like the leadership, and the leadership out there at the wing level is fantastic. And I love them. And I think they're doing a great job, and I completely support them and stuff. And I even said in the comments and stuff, when people were commenting on this stuff, hey, this is a money issue. This was a bad email out and a bad take. Because there were some low cost alternatives they could have done to include the families and stuff, just to bring the opportunity to bring them out and stuff. And they're like, well, no one sees the comments. I appreciate you saying all that stuff, but nobody sees the comments. And and you're giving traction to something that didn't need to be. And all I can say is, hey, it's sad, but I don't like it when you come after me because you guys are messing up. And it was a joke.
Christy says, I don't like slow drivers in the left lane, to which Barbara, this is Shirley, replied that part. And then Barbara, not Shirley, this is Shirley, replied, not you have a 1-second commercial, JP. Actually, Jermaine does not have a 1-second commercial, Christina. Jermaine actually has a 30-second commercial, and here it is before we go. Is it a good time to buy or sell a house? No, it is a great time to buy or sell a house. And at a time like this, having a realtor who has your back is key. Introducing Jermaine Parker Realty. here for all of your needs. Licensed in both North Carolina and South Carolina. Let Jermaine Parker Realty help you with your next big investment. And we do it like that. Now, I do have to change the fact that we're only doing North Carolina right now. Whose voice is that? Come on now. Come on now.
It's Big
Jermaine
Daddy
Parker Realty is licensed in North Carolina and not Smooth Jazz Radio in the back. Well, of course, I made a commercial. Come on now. You know, I know what I'm doing. That is me in the back. That is me with the voiceover. For
We
Jermaine Parker.
need to do headshots. That was a much bigger Jermaine Parker Realty.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to do some more now since Jermaine Parker Realty has a new broker in myself. So we're both licensed in North Carolina to sell you real estate. So if you're looking for your next investment or looking to buy or sell a house and want to know how the market is and how things are currently moving, please reach out to us, and you can always DM me for details on that. I just had to play that just to let you know that we do that. Trouble in NC. Oh, you know it. You know it. That's what we do.
Double trouble.
But yeah, you were talking about the traffic, Christy. I got to agree with you. I don't know why people get in their car and then act like they want to go to sleep. Your seat is not meant to recline that far while you're driving. You can't even see over the damn dashboard when you're reclining like this and trying to drive. You do not look cool. You look like a fool. I'm sure you will all lead people to their forever homes. Thank you, Christy. I don't understand why y'all drive like that. Sit your tail up or take your tail home and stop driving so slow. People used to understand the etiquette of the road, that if you in the left lane, that means that you need to go a little bit faster than everybody else. But now people just pick a lane and they just kind of want to go wherever they want to go. And there's no etiquette. Just like when I flash people with my high beams to let them know, hey, doofus, you driving with your high beams on and it's blinding everybody. And they just sit there like they don't know what that flashing light means when somebody flashes them. So a lot of stuff I don't like. Stay right, pass left. Amen. Well, look, y'all, as always, we appreciate y'all joining the show. Always check us out. Like I said, we stream live. We have a Roku channel called Empower. If you have Roku, please go to it. Check it out. We have a lot of content, movies, talk shows. I have a sports show that I do every single week with my co-host Randall Hargrove, where we wrap up the NFL every Wednesday. It is live streaming right now on Amazon Fire TV and Roku. Plus, I have it on my LinkedIn. Facebook is where some people are watching from, as well as YouTube. YouTube has Empower TV. Please go there and subscribe if you can. Would definitely appreciate it. It does help with the algorithm and with the viewership as more and more people do like it. But we are done for today. We will definitely see y'all again next week. And y'all keep making them plates because I'm coming to get mine. For Lori, Jermaine franchise, I'm he, and we out. See y'all next week.
This a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.